February 6th, 2006. It truly was an historic day. Over 400 of America's foremost evangelical leaders together in one room with a single purpose: to speak and act with one voice in support of Israel. Since that day, Christians United for Israel, also known as CUFI, has grown to become the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States and one of the leading Christian grassroots movements in the world. That first meeting so inspired Christian leaders that just 5 months later, their influence encouraged over 4,000 Bible-believing Christians to converge on our nation's capital for the first Washington-Israel Summit. Christians from all 50 states came together at the Hilton Hotel in a passionate and unified display of support for Israel and the Jewish people. The timing was ordained of God. As Israel went to war in Lebanon, CUFI was boldly supporting them in Washington. It was a night of music and special speakers.
Because support for Israel is not a democratic tradition or a Republican tradition. Support for Israel is an American tradition.
To have this kind of support within the Christian community for the state of Israel and for our strategic relationship is of incalculable value.
He wants to bring millions of Christians together for Israel. But what's his message?
It is time for America to consider a military preemptive strike against Iran to prevent a nuclear holocaust in Israel and a nuclear attack in America.
Some say the greatest threat to America.
These drug cartels represent a clear and present danger to the national security of the United States.
Comes from other nations. Some say the greatest threat to America.
The course of action I'd suggest is a course of action I can't suggest.
Comes from within.
We are 2 minutes to target. Looks like we've got our own little war.
Our Paramount Pictures presents this summer's most electrifying motion picture, Clear and Present Danger.
Secondly, we want you to recognize that Iran is a clear and present danger to the United States of America and Israel. And we support Senator Joseph Lieberman that it's time for our country to consider a military preemptive strike against Iran if they will not yield to diplomacy and if they continue the pursuit of nuclear weapons. We must not allow them to manipulate the economy of the world because they have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. Speaker, what is the one issue that you believe is foremost in America for this nation to rediscover its Americanism?
Well, I think we have to reestablish our identity as an exceptional country, and I think reacquainting the American people with the Declaration of Independence and the meaning of being endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights and the fact that sovereignty resides in each citizen. If you think about that, you almost flip the current structure of government on its head and go back to
1 year after the first summit, an even larger contingency of CUFI members came together in D.C. for the second annual Washington-Israel Summit. Again, government leaders were impressed with the turnout. We now have state directors in every state of the union and city directors in over 90 of America's leading cities. Since our founding, CUFI conducts over 40 events per month. Recently, Christians United for Israel has expanded its outreach to the Hispanic and African American communities. Many of the Hispanic and African American community leaders attended the 2009 CUFI Leadership Summit and learned the keys to furthering Israeli support in their own communities. The following day, over 1,000 Christians marched through the heart of Jerusalem, waving American and Israeli flags. They were greeted warmly by residents and passers-by who cheered, shouted their thanks, and even threw rose petals at the feet of the marchers. In July of 2010, 4,500 people from all 50 states came to Washington, D.C. to participate in the 5th annual CUFI Washington, D.C. Summit. Experts from around the world came to speak in support of Israel and agree with Israel's right to defend herself. During the Middle East briefing, participants were informed of the rising tension against Israel. They also listened via satellite to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's sincere gratitude for CUFI's constant commitment during Israel's greatest challenges.
As we speak, Iran is...
For John Hagee, what happens in Iran is not just a matter of politics. It's also a matter of theology. His study of biblical prophecy has led him to believe that Iran will figure prominently in the end times, the apocalypse, and the return of Jesus.
Iran will use those weapons on Israel. Anyone who's smart enough to wave bye-bye knows that.
In his book, Jerusalem Countdown, he writes, Iran with nuclear weapons will transform the Bush administration's roadmap for peace program into a racetrack to Armageddon.
Playing up to...
From his reading of the Bible, he lays out a scenario predicting that if Israel and America attack Iran, Russia and its allies, including Iran, will attack Israel, triggering Ezekiel's war. God will crush the invading forces as, quote, he crushed Pharaoh, Haman, and Hitler, so that Israel and the world shall know that I am the Lord. Says John Hagee, the Battle of Armageddon will follow.
They intend to bring that bomb online. And if they use it, you think gas is high now? Life as we know it is going to change instantly and forever. And I'm telling you, you need to get your life ready to meet the Son of God in all of his glory. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Christians united for Israel.
Christians united for Israel.
Christians united for Israel.
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 We are blessed to be here for such a time as this.
We set the bar for what they can do. We tolerate it. If we stand up and say no more hatred, no more demonizing Israel, no more Helen Thomases, no more distortions, no more misrepresentations, we can set the limit on what they do.
I believe it is both our right as American citizens and our responsibility to speak out in support of the state of Israel and the special relationship, the unbreakable bond between the United States and our democratic ally of Israel, no matter who is in the White House or which party controls Congress. It is our duty.
The American people support Israel and Jerusalem as her eternal capital. And so should it ever be.
The future of pro-Israel activism and the future of the U.S.-Israel relationship is on our college campuses, our universities across this country, and Christians United for Israel is leading the charge.
When your allies grow weary of fighting tyranny and oppression and seek the easy way out, we stand with you and say, I am an Israeli.